And I'm a brand new business owner. I've been a W-2 employee my entire life until June. And now as the regional partner for Master Networks Minnesota, it's a learning curve to understand maybe it's not good to turn on the Today Show first thing in the morning and you get sucked into something there and distracted. When it's evening time and my family's around, it's time for them. And to create that, or, if I'm working at home, how do you manage the things that need to be done around you when you need to focus on business? And one thing with Master Networks is just so embraced is we do life together. And that means we do life together as members of Master Networks, but we do life together with our families. Our families are involved.
In today's podcast, we're going to learn the difference between networking versus a network. We're going to talk about an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset, creating a well-rounded and grounded business, and doing life together. The value of referrals, relationships, and education, helping you get beyond those limiting beliefs, creating a legacy beyond the business. Today's podcast guest is Sara Bunge with Master Networks. She's been with the organization from the time it was local to a national organization.
My name's Travis Sims, and I am the founder and CEO of AGC Accelerated Global Connections. And this is the AGC Experience.
Have you wondered if Facebook and Instagram ads could work for your business? Do you know that these ads are the most cost-effective advertising on and off the internet today? That is, if you know what you are doing. Isn't it time to take advantage of Facebook and Instagram ads to get more leads and sales for your business? Janet E. Johnson has helped bring in millions of dollars using online marketing strategies. She offers both management and training solutions. Set up a discovery call with her to see if your business is a fit. JanetEJohnson.com.
All right, I'm super excited to be here today on the AGC Experience podcast show. I have a special guest today, Sara Bunge with Master Networks. Sara, you and I met almost a year ago.
Yes.
It's just time flies so much when you're having fun. And I really have enjoyed getting to know you and what you do and how you help people and just hear part of your story. And so I'd love it if you could just introduce yourself to our audience and we'll see where that goes.
Great. Thank you, Travis. It has been quite a journey since we met last year. And I first heard about AGC last December.
Yeah.
So like you said, almost a year ago. And it really has been, we'll talk more about AGC later, but it's been really fun getting to know you, your mission, what you're doing, and how it connects well with what we're doing at Master Networks. A little bit about me. I'm a farm girl. So I grew up on a farm in southern Minnesota for most of my life and did the college route. I was very into education and academics and just knew from an early age I'm going on to college, eventually got my master's and learned a lot actually with my master's program. It was very experiential based. It wasn't one of those just going out and doing research and furthered my love of education. I call myself an education geek because it's really fun when you engage with someone and you're able to teach them something or share something you've learned and they've never heard it before and they can turn around and put that into their business, into their life and change things for their trajectory. So I'm a self-proclaimed education geek from a long time ago. And I love watching people develop and learn and see how it changes their life. And that has come in so many different forms. In the way I've done that, I've worked inside businesses in HR, being their education person. And then I've gotten to work outside in the community through a community and technical college and help and really get connected to those businesses, understand what they need, what struggles are they having, how can we tailor some education for them. And that led me to being more open to what's in the community, being connected with people. I eventually got connected in with people that were doing their own businesses. I've been a W-2 employee my whole life, but was like, wow, there's this thing called a side hustle. There's this thought of you should have a second stream of income because you don't know what's going to happen in your life. And that's how I got introduced to the world of networking, is making sure that there's something else for me there, that I don't just have to be an employee, which was a great honor in some cases not such a great honor. And opening my eyes to have something else that's of interest. What else is a passion for me that I could bring to people in a different way and create another revenue stream for myself.
Yeah.
And then it eventually wound around into this world of networking, which is amazing.
I think education and networking go hand in hand because think about like as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, sometimes, not always, but we're either a solopreneur, it's just us, or we're working with a team of people, or we're developing our business and growing our strategies. And it's all about learning. The more you learn, the more you earn. And that's such a true statement. Even those of us that are not required to go and take some education, like I don't have to have a degree to do what I do, but I attend workshops, I attend seminars, I attend coaching sessions and trainings with my business coach, and I'm consistently working to learn more because I think it just raises my game everywhere I play.
Right. And if we aren't continuing to grow, our company can't grow, or wherever you're at. And we love to serve entrepreneurs, we call them too. So you may not own the company, but you are basically creating your own company within that company because you're responsible for the business or a certain piece of it. And you can go along and all of a sudden realize, wow, the people around me are leveling up and I need to continue to raise my skills. And I didn't really understand the need for a business coach for a long time. I finally came around to that you need a business coach. I have, a health and nutrition coach who's helping me. So you need to take care of your whole life. All of us do, whether you're an entrepreneur, that education piece, wherever you get it from, is so important. And sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a podcast. It's another person just telling their story of what they've experienced. And you think, wow, I didn't know other people were going through that. And this is how they got through it. And I can apply that lesson into my life or my situation that I'm going through as well.
Yeah. The entrepreneurs, especially, I mean, it's a world where we have to continually be fed. And you said something that resonated with me. And that is that you've got to take care of yourself. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs and salespeople, if you run your own business, you typically are doing something you love. Mm-hmm. You've built it around something you really enjoy doing, and which is great because they tell me that if you find a way to make a business out of something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
However, because we love it so much, we tend to not to want to turn it off. Like every conversation revolves around it. Everything we read evolves around it. I find myself working later because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I think what you said is important, and that is that just taking care of yourself, creating some boundaries, maybe some balance as business owners and salespeople is just as important.
Yes. And I'm a brand new business owner. I've been a W-2 employee my entire life until June. And now as the regional partner for Master Networks Minnesota, it's a learning curve to understand maybe it's not good to turn on the Today Show first thing in the morning and you get sucked into something there and distracted. When it's evening time and my family's around, it's time for them. And to create that, or, if I'm working at home, how do you manage the things that need to be done around you when you need to focus on business? And one thing with Master Networks is just so embraced is we do life together. And that means we do life together as members of Master Networks, but we do life together with our families. Our families are involved. We have a National Convention Connect. My daughter has come to parts of Connect every single year since we started it. And I'll never forget the ride home. That first Connect, she was riding with me. I'm exhausted. This was our first event. I am spent. And Erin's all about, well, next year at Connect, we should do this and we should do that. My daughter already calls Master Networks we. She is a part of that at a very young age. So we really embrace that we want to help people build a fulfilling life throughout their whole life and everything that they're doing. So how can we help business owners create the business so that it is a business and not just a job, and they can enjoy their life, the hobbies, the passions, the other things, the service things that they want to do, meld and fit in so that we're all doing life together in a way that builds the legacy we want to leave for our friends and family.
That's why we're all working so hard anyway, right?
Yes.
I mean, when you think about
why you're working, I mean, it's usually because, I want this thing to put in my garage. I want to be able to take a dream vacation. I want to be able to send my kid to college. I want to be able to make my mortgage. I want to be able to enjoy life with my spouse and my family. And that's what we're working so hard for anyway. But most business owners and entrepreneurs work away their entire life and look up and they missed all those things. Right. So I love that you said, let's do life together. Yes. And it includes family. So you've mentioned Master Networks a few times. And although I know Master Networks is a national brand and I know about Master Networks and what it stands for, but for our audience that may have never heard of Master Networks or this is their first opportunity to learn, tell us a little bit about what is Master Networks, what's the philosophy, what's it look like, how was it created? Just give us a little history.
Okay, great. So our founder and president is Chaz Wilson, and he was an extreme networker in all capacities for many, many years in a lot of different avenues, and realized there were some things for him. There were a few things missing and he'd like to change about the networking experiences he had. So he grabbed a mastermind group and they talked through a lot of things, and Master Networks was born out of all those meetings and brainstorming and how it could be different. The one key philosophy that has stayed consistent that he insisted on was the business education. That there's a lot of education out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of great things. He wanted to help people understand how to run and grow a business so that you could have that life. So it's not just about, at our chapter meetings, getting the referrals so that your sales go up. That is a key component. But what happens when those sales get so big that you can't fulfill them all anymore?
Oh, yeah.
And then people tend to want to, well, I have to quit. I grew too big. No, don't quit. How do we help you leverage? How do you build your team? What does that look like? Who can you bring in? And so the education was a huge piece of what we wanted to do with Master Networks. And so we are a business networking organization. However, the education almost surpasses that part of our reputation, because people join us in our chapters for the referrals. They stay for the relationships and the education that we have. And we did a scientific survey. So we have that knowledge. And so when people ask, what is it like? What is Master Networks like? What do you do when you're in Master Networks? You become a member. So you become part of this huge community that, like you mentioned, is national. My focus is Minnesota and building that community there. So you're joining a community of business people that have goals and have set goals, and you want to work together. And we do that every single week with you. So we bring education to you. We bring you the opportunity to share about your business, what you do, how you do it, what drives you, how did you get there on that journey? And yes, we pass business referrals. And that's a byproduct of the relationships we build, though. And that was another piece that, listen, we've all been there. You go to an event and people are just throwing their business cards out to everybody. And then they're hoping it lands with somebody who might need them. And so we want to be intentional and relational, build a relationship, and the referrals will come. And so that's the type of atmosphere and community where we want you to visit other chapters. We want you to get to know. If you can serve someone in another chapter because your industry isn't there, by all means, please reach out to them. And so we use a lot of technology for that, but it's the phrase we used early on that we are still using is high tech, high touch. We want both of those. So use technology to fuel what we do. We're in the process of developing an app. We have a mobile website right now, which we outgrew pretty quickly, and it's not serving our needs. So we're working with, let's continue. How can we use technology? We use Zoom. We use all kinds of things to stay connected. But the face-to-face meeting, and I've had people, it's funny, I've had people I've met and they're like, oh, I have to go every week to a meeting. I'm like, how about I get to go to a meeting every week? that it's not an obligation. It's something that you want to do. It's something, it's a privilege to get to go to that chapter meeting and connect with those people every single week to grow yourself and your business.
Well, if you are growing your business and you're getting high value and you're getting referrals and you're closing business, all those things, you're going to want to come.
Yes.
So I tend to think people who are asking those questions either haven't experienced that yet, like they're not yet a member. They're inquiring about it and they're learning, oh, it's every week, and they don't understand the why. The why is the most important thing about anything that any of us do. And once understanding the why, it becomes evident as to,
Mhm.
okay, this is why you do it every week.
Yes.
And it's the same with motivation. You need motivation regularly. You need it. You need small doses of it throughout. You can't just do, well, I read a book once and that was good.
I'm good for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So I have to ask this question because Master Networks, you said, is a network or a networking organization. It's about business owners. It's about connecting relationships. It's about building referrals and closing business and all those things. And some people might ask the question, now, wait a minute, why is Travis interviewing Sara with Master Networks? Isn't AGC a networking organization? Aren't they competitors? And I know that not to be true. And I know you know that not to be true. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on, what's the difference between a network? What's the difference between networking? And why do you think that AGC and Master Networks could work well together? Why are you a member of AGC? You're a member of AGC.
Yes, I am.
And I'd
Proud
like to know
member.
why. Our audience wants to know why.
Yes, and it's funny because you and I have talked about this. We often kind of get that eyebrow, and you even mentioned at one of the events where I had a table, someone came up and said, "Travis, did you know that woman's promoting a networking group?" And he
I
said,
know.
"Yes, I invited her." So
Yes.
and I know from the first meeting, because Chaz was with me, it was the three of us sat down and you were showing us your concept. Our drive, to our next meeting after that was like, wow, this is really cool. There wasn't ever a wow, that would be horrible to be a part of, or that would be a competitor. Oh, we have another competitor in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was very much that's a really cool space that he's going to take up and he's going to fulfill for people by having late afternoon, very professional events. And that's what I have found when I started coming. People are there. First of all, our cultures mesh well because people are there with the spirit of contribution. You don't ever see people just running around passing out business cards. I see people sharing business cards, which is very different because they make a connection. The people are very professional. They want to help each other. There is business being done, even though that's not a requirement. There's no,
Sure.
We don't track, tell me how many referrals you got from that meeting, but it is
Yeah.
happening and connections and relationships are being made there. And where we fit in is if people want something more often, they're wanting that accountability and they want to make sure they're with people every single week in just a different way. And so for me, it's the opportunity to meet so many people and to really become connected in the Metro Twin Cities area with a lot of people. And I know some of them are looking for a different type of connection, another connection that they can have on a weekly basis. And that's what we like to do is provide that opportunity. So I get to meet all these great people. I get to talk to them about what we do. I get to hear what they do, and we can discover together if a Master Networks chapter with a weekly meeting is what they need to push them to that next level that they're looking for, in addition to AGC. So yes, I'm obviously a member of Master Networks, but my membership in AGC is very important. In fact, so important, I purchased a small business membership.
You did.
So as I have regional people step up into leadership, I gift them one of my memberships so that they have the opportunity, and it helps them grow their business, build awareness on that. They're also there representing their Master Networks chapter and Master Networks in general too. So what we're trying to do is just make sure people know of all the opportunities they have for someone to support them, because even an entrepreneurs can feel so isolating. And I've had people, my own family members, like, what are you thinking? You picked up, you moved to Texas. Now you picked up and you moved back, and now you own the business. Don't you just want a job? No, I don't.
Yeah.
And when I surround myself with AGC and Master Networks, I have that support that I need.
I get that from my own family. They're like, now, what is it you do for a living? And people that are not in the business world or even the networking world, when you say networking, it's like, so is that something with computers?
Yes.
I get that all the time. They just don't understand.
Yes.
What I love about our relationship, what I love about Master Networks and AGC is that abundant style of thinking.
Yes.
That there's no such thing as a one size fits all for networking, because there are going to be people that are attracted to a network attracted to the accountability, attracted to the
Yes.
weekly commitment, the relationships and things that all come of that, which is what makes Master Networks great. They're going to be people that are like, you know what, I can't do weekly, I can't do that, and we still need to get them networking, right?
Yes.
And so maybe ADC is a better fit. Maybe ADC is not the fit. Maybe it's the chamber or another organization. And sometimes people recognize, you know what, maybe I should do both of these things. And some of the leading experts in networking tell us that you should diversify your networking, which means that like you really should choose 3 different types of networks that you want to be a part of. And defining those, meaning that you have a place where you're networking. Now, I'm going to say, I hope you choose AGC,
Yes,
right?
of course. Me too.
And when you're networking, that's where you're making connections. It's really about you're meeting people for the first time. You're seeing them again and again and again, and you're starting to warm that relationship up. It's like casting a big net. You're going to meet a ton of people. You're going to pass a lot of cards. That's an open concept. And with Master Networks, it's a close contact. It's more exclusive, right? And it's a place to take all those people that you're meeting in networking back to a network where you're going to really cultivate that relationship, where you're going to track the referrals that are being done, where you're going to really develop this almost partnership between businesses. And then the third one I'm going to suggest is some type of service organization.
Absolutely.
Where you're giving back to your community. And there are tons of them like Rotary and Kiwanis and Lions Clubs and just places where the focus is not about growing your business, but it's about how can you give back? How can you help others?
Yes. Yeah. And that's why we work so well together. And I have to tell you, when I first started networking with Master Networks, it was my first experience and I wasn't very good at it, to be a little confessional here quick.
Sure.
First of all, my thought process was I have this side business. I'm working full time. I have a family. But this is great. If I go there, people are just going to start throwing referrals at me. That's going to grow. Whew.
Yep.
Well, that doesn't exactly happen because you need to build relationships. You need face-to-face meetings outside. And that definitely, I learned that part of it. And I got so stuck at first on that exclusive that I didn't have a very good abundant mindset. And that has changed over time when I understand there's enough networking out there. There's enough business for everybody. Everybody needs a different networking experience and you need a lot of them. Just need, because again, as I went along, as I grow Master Networks and, you just talk to lots of people. Well, but where do you meet those people? You don't meet them sitting in your cave. You talk,
right.
We work out of our little caves.
I know.
So you need opportunities to get out and meet other people.
Yeah.
And lots of people to bring in that are looking for it. It's not a coercion. We talk about in our meetings, there's no bright light. We're not going to force you into this. We want to share it with you and help you decide if this is a good idea for you and your business at this time, if this makes sense for you to come on board and be part of our community.
Yeah, I love it. I love the our cultures match so well that we really do have that abundance mindset. There is enough business out there for everyone. If every business owner could understand that and understand that it's not, you don't have to be competitive with everyone. If we could find people that you can collaborate with, we're both going to win so much faster. So I love that that's coming out in this interview. And I hope our audience at home or at work, that when they're considering how they're going to network, that they take a look at a lot of different organizations and see just what's the style for them. So
right. Because my overall philosophy I've learned is just network. I didn't understand the importance of a network before. Now I do. And it's really what I didn't expect either was I feel so personally taken care of. If I have an issue in my life, I know I have a network I can go to. If my mom and dad have something they need, my dad does that a lot. You got a guy who can, help me with this project.
Got a gal.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love that I've become that resource for them. But it's also personally, I feel well taken care of and I have this large community that's there to support me when I'm going through a tough time. And we are, Master Networks a little concerned. What's the economy going to do next year?
Sure.
There's signs of softening. Build your network right now, because if you wait till the economy's down and you've already seen your business going down, we don't want you to be too late. So please find your networking right now, so that when you hit and start establishing those relationships right now, so when the first quarter hits in 2020, you are ingrained and you are wherever you're networking, you're feeling comfortable that network is there to support you, whatever happens in 2020.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to ask a question because I know that you're new to the role as a regional partner, but you're not new to Master Networks. And you've recently relocated back to Minnesota. You're originally from Illinois. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Born in Illinois.
I sometimes have a good memory. But you lived a long time in Minnesota and then moved to Texas and came back. But I'm going to ask you, like, because for our audience that doesn't know, what makes you the expert? Because an organization sometimes can only be as good as its leader. And so I know that you bring a lot of value to the area, but I'm going to give you a chance to brag on yourself for a minute. So
it's hard, but
I know no one wants to do that because we're always such givers and we want to lift others up and not shine the spotlight on us. But I want to ask you, why you? What makes you the expert in this area as the new regional partner for Minnesota?
My journey with Master Network started as a member, as I've kind of alluded to, and I'll give that little bit of a journey because the journey I've had with Master Networks truly has changed my life. I became a member, and I started talking with Chaz early on because of my education background and his strong, and we sat in our teeny little office in Rochester that was always cold and sunny because we had no blinds. It was one of those cool stories of look where we were and now where we are now, and talked about this national convention we were going to do and this online university and all the education for our members.
Big, right?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun and I got so excited. And so we, obviously as a member, I would stay in touch with him. Any training I put together for my chapter, I shared with him because that's my background. I was already doing it. Why not let other chapters use it as well? And as things just kind of progressed and we changed our model a little bit to 1 hour providing training, I came on board as a contractor. So I was providing the training every month and our end goal was get me on staff. And so eventually I came on staff. I started so narrow. I would come into my desk and literally I can just feel myself do this, very narrow. I'm going to take care of our back office redesign where all the resources are, and I'm going to work on the education. That was it. That's all I was going to do. And I was so excited and so happy to be in that lane. However, it soon became apparent whatever it takes became our motto. Whatever needed to happen, people's invoices didn't go through because their credit card was expired. Okay, I'll call them. The phone needs answering. I'll answer the phone, whatever it took. Yeah. There were 3 of us in the office, Chaz, Caitlin, and I. And I just got to be part of processes and systems that we needed to build. And our regional partners would reach out and say, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we work on that? And I loved it. I loved being part of growing something brand new. And we did move headquarters to Texas in 2015. And after many conversations and a little bit of heartbreak, our families are here on both sides, my husband and mine. And we went to Texas, but we knew we had a Master Networks family there. And I had one of the best opportunities of my life. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be an executive assistant. So my focus down there was all the education. I did some member support, but mostly the education was what I was doing. And when we had to make a change in staffing and he didn't have an executive assistant and he asked if I would fill in temporarily till he found someone. Absolutely. I'm sure I can do that. I thought it would be taking phone calls, maybe pulling some paperwork together, managing his calendar, and it became so much more. I got to be part of the inner workings of working with a visionary and entrepreneur and building the company, giving my input, my thoughts, creating the systems. I would leave those meetings so excited, like we're going to do this, and then I would go and help make that happen. And make sure we didn't forget. Because if a visionary entrepreneur, he's on to the next thing. Let's circle back and finish this one. Then we'll move on and work on that one. So I got to be part of the inner workings of what makes Master Networks and building the culture that we have. An experience I never dreamed could be so fulfilling and so wonderful. And I needed that because it prepared me for the opportunity. I knew we wanted to come back to Minnesota. We had decided, we missed our families. We knew that Texas wasn't going to be our long-term home. And I wasn't sure how to make it all happen because I couldn't fathom leaving Master Networks. Yeah. I still get emotional because it just became part of who I was and the mission of helping all these people and seeing how we helped people. Not just in their business, but their life. A life crisis would happen. And man, that network is right there to catch you. And then the region came open, and my husband and I jumped at the opportunity and worked through how that could happen and what would it look like. And so now it's really fun to be back here, and all of those things I helped build, I'm implementing and bringing my passion. And part of it is, let's build a big community. However, the way I want to do that is by attracting people that understand that the networking, it boils down to, what do you need in your business? Where's your goals? What do you want to do? And how can this community of Master Networks support you in building you up? Whatever personally or professionally you want to do, the numbers will come. I'm not, yes, we need to track things. We need to be paying attention to that. However, I know with what we're doing, we will attract people and we will be able to support them and help it grow. So I'm able to take all of that love and passion for Master Networks and just pour it into the members and visitors and guests that we have coming to our Master Networks meetings.
I love this story, and I've been making some notes as we've been having this conversation, and I wrote down a few things. And I wrote down, first of all, you've done this from member, like you started out as a member.
Yes,
I think that's so important. It's like you worked your way up through the life cycle of what it takes to be a member all the way up. You're not someone from the outside that is coming in and trying to learn a new process and you just bought this, but you have all this education and experience of what it's like to be a member, what it's like to work at headquarters, and from growing from local to national.
Yes.
And I wrote down something, and I know your title is regional partner, but I wrote down from custodian to CEO. And it's because when you are any type of business owner, or you're in a position of where you're the head of an organization, you have to know that sometimes you have to sweep the floor and you got to put on the hat. Like at an AGC event, I mean, we're in our first 10 months. So, I'm there early and I'm setting up the program, and I'm there staying late, and I'm breaking it all down after everyone else has left. And that's what it takes to be successful. And I'm so glad that some of these things are coming out in this interview.
Yeah.
So that leads me to a question, and I'm going to ask you this question. That is, what does success mean to you? Because I just said, it takes that to reach success. So what does success mean to you? It's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that answer is so different. If you'd asked me that a year and a half ago, wow, it's all flitting through my head really quickly. So now for me, success is part of our why statement ends in building legacy beyond the business. And so I want that for our members. It goes back to that we do life together. What does your whole life need to look like with your family? What do you want to leave behind? And so what I want to leave behind, that's what success is that this community in not just Minnesota, the Midwest, is a community of Master Networks members that are supporting each other. And whether I'm there or not, when I'm not a part of it anymore, that it is still growing strong. That's what success is. And that business owners and business leaders, salespeople, network marketers, all of them know they have a home. And whether it works for them at the time or not, they know there's a home for them in the Master Networks community, and we can help them. And it will continue on long after I'm gone. I'd even love for my kids, if they have the opportunity and want to be a part of this. And it's a legacy that our family can build for the Midwest community.
I love that answer. And it's because oftentimes, even when you're the business owner, you look up and all you did was you created a job for yourself. Mm-hmm. And you look back and it's your time nearing that time of retiring, and you're like, I can't retire because all I did was create a job. Right. There's nothing for me to sell. There's no legacy for me to leave. And I love that you defined success in the business world as being able to leave that legacy behind. I think that's fantastic.
Yes. And the team approach. Yeah. Master Networks from the beginning, it's about a team. Whether you're in a chapter as a member, you're in regional leadership, we have a team structure so that we bring in those people that see it at a high level and want a bigger role. We have people step up. We don't have to advertise. We have people step up and say, what more can I do? I love this. What more can I do? And so I'm excited about that too, to bring other people in so they can experience master networks at a higher level. And gosh, buy into ownership, whatever it can look like with people.
Sure.
I cannot wait to continue to build the regional team.
That's awesome. Dream big, big visions.
Yes.
It only creates huge accomplishments. That's the side effect, which is awesome. So I want to leave our audience with another little piece of advice, and I'm going to ask you, what tips or advice would you have for other business owners and entrepreneurs? You probably alluded to a few, but if you could leave us with a final thought around that, I'm sure we could all benefit.
Yeah. I think I mentioned overall just networking. I mean, make sure you have a network, whatever that looks like for you. That network is important. I think a lot of business owners get the business development that I need to continually train myself on business. Don't forget the personal side. And that's something that has been a life changer for me is mindset. My mindset needs to be in the right place. And how do I get that mindset? Where does it come from? What limiting beliefs are holding me back to going on to what I want to do? So don't forget the personal and the health. And we alluded to that a little bit. That's really important. We have a lot of our training tidbits. I think it's 10 or 12 of them focus on health. How do you deal with stress? Eat right. We want to make sure even in our chapters, we have a good wellness sphere to take care of all of us. So I think maybe the business training becomes a great focus for you. Don't forget about you. Because there will be struggles. And how do you get through those struggles and challenges? How do you take care of yourself physically as well? So surround yourself with people from all those different areas. Spiritual, if that's part of your life, make sure you have that spiritual component, whatever that might mean for you, so that you feel well-rounded and grounded. And when something feels off, you have the support. You know who is in your sphere that you can go to bring you back around on those tough days.
I love it. It's just building that well-rounded you. You hit on so many things there, from education to relationships. And the thing that I loved a lot about meeting you was, and I've heard you give this advice to many people, and that is when people are considering where they're going to network or how they're going to do networking, and you say, hey, you know what? We hope you choose Master Networks, but just get networking. Yes. Go somewhere. If it's not us, just at least start somewhere. And that really is, again, that abundance mindset. I love the idea of taking care of yourself. There's a big buzzword right now, and it's self-care. And it's because, well, our generation didn't do a great job of it, to be honest. Right. I mean, we worked and we didn't take care of ourselves. And I think the next generation is just a little bit more mindful about, hey, you know what? If I don't take care of myself, I can't even do this job.
Right.
So,
I won't be around to enjoy the legacy I'm building.
So if our audience at home wants to know how to find you or how to find Master Networks, how can we connect to Sara, and how can we connect to Master Networks in Minnesota?
So Facebook is a great place to connect to Master Networks. So we have a page called Master Networks Minnesota. There's also Master Networks Inc., which I think gives you another level of insight into what we're all about. So you can friend me on Facebook, Sara Bunge. Sure. I'm just out there as me as well. I would love to connect with you. If there's something that sparked your interest, or you feel like there's a question you have, something that we might be able to help you with Master Networks, I would love to just connect, have coffee, have a phone call, and see how we can help.
Oh, that's awesome. For our audience at home, I want to say thank you for watching. I want to say thank you for listening wherever you are, wherever you're subscribing to our podcast. And Sara, thank you so much for being a guest today. I've learned so many things, and it's been a great value to me and our audience at home. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I too learn much from you every time I go to an AGC event or we meet. So I appreciate that connection and relationship as well. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast was produced by Elation Studios. Go to www.elationstudios.co to learn more. Elation Studios. Discover your voice, clarify your vision, build your life.